All right. Hello, folks. My name is Michael Huggins coming to you live from Tennessee, and we have another meetup on Zoom. It's our Zoom Up, and I am here today with my co-host, Keely Austin out of Phoenix. What's up, Keely?
Hey there, Michael. How's it going?
It's going great. And we got a powerful story for you guys today. So if you're here live, this is going to be awesome. And for those of you catching the recording, there's going to be a couple other videos after this that you're going to want to definitely get your hands on so you can see more about our community, how our real estate investing is working, how we're taking advantage of all kinds of financial systems so that we can take care of our families, take care of our businesses, and really thrive during this time. So and then just as a reminder, you're going to hear a lot of success stories, but real estate is risky, right? You could definitely lose money in real estate. So you're going to want to get educated, get around a support system, join a community, do something to mitigate that risk. So today's guest is coming to us from Colorado, from Boulder. He's a bold man from Boulder, and we really appreciate his contributions to our community. He's got quite a wild story, and so we're gonna have him come out and share a little bit, and then at the end we'll tell you a little bit more about our community. So, anything you want to share that about our guest today, Keely, that you like before we bring him out?
Absolutely. I just love his energy. It's one of the first things I noticed about him. He just has such amazing energy and he brings a lot to our group, a lot of smiles, a lot of happiness. He's always checking in on me to make sure I'm doing good. So just all around a quality individual.
Right on. Okay, well, let's bring to the stage Mr. Mike Word. What's up, Mike?
Hey, what's up, Michael? What's up, Keely? Hello,
Hey.
everybody else.
Well, welcome. Tell folks a little bit about your background, where you came from, why you were looking for a change, and what made you want to link arms with us, and what's happened since.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for giving me space to share my story. And I started off as a teacher, artist. I'm a hip hop artist, and I went into I'm from Colorado. There's no hip hop industry in Colorado, no big music industry, so a lot of artists in this area we fall back on education. So I ended up being in the schools a lot, and before that, I dropped out of school. So I'm a college dropout also. So I'm in the schools teaching, kids and adults about hip hop culture and just music culture. And eventually, I met my wife, and she's in the environmental stuff. So I also got into ecological design and became a teacher of that as well as a practitioner. And so you can imagine I dropped out of college and I'm a teacher. So I think I know more than maybe I know. And because I'm a knowledge seeker, I did seek out financial knowledge throughout the years, but there was none that really was able to stick, or just a community of people, or just reinforcement of that information. I was just getting it out of random places. And the reason I was doing that is because I'm a dad too. So I have 4 kids, and their mom, my wife, and so I'm trying to take care of a family, and on a artist teacher salary, not even an official artist. So I'm traveling all over the city. My commute was really agonizing, and I was on fumes, just like my gas tank, and my money was the amount of money I was making was just enough to get food and pay a few of the bills, not even all of the bills. And thinking I know everything, but not being able to pay all the bills, I kind of found myself in this little pickle, like a contradiction in a way. I was living a contradiction. So, I got sick of it. I wanted to clean it up. And again, like I said, I researched a little bit about financial stuff, and I knew that real estate was a way that you could make, real decent money. And I went to a few seminars throughout the years, and I almost invested in an education company, and all there I was going to get was coaching calls, which I learned were read off a script, and the person that was going to be doing the coaching I only had limited access to, and they weren't even really real estate investors. They're just reading off these scripts. So luckily we got out of that pickle, but I'm broke. So I had to change something. And I saw a sign, I saw advertisement. One day I was coming home from work and went to the grocery store, spending all my money at the grocery store to buy food for my family. And I saw advertisement inviting me down to a meeting, just like we have all these workshops. So I went to a workshop, and there I was just blown away. I already knew some of this stuff, but I just didn't have a cohesive like system or framework to really absorb it and then apply it. And when I came to the workshop, I learned about credit, and I had heard in those other workshops, that credit could be good or bad, but there was no real details of how you're supposed to use your credit and how you're supposed to leverage debt necessarily. So it was kind of a foggy concept for me. And, I dropped out of college because I was trying to stay away from getting in debt. And so I learned about velocity banking, which is a strategy that we learned in this community. And I had no credit at the time, but that inspired me to start building my credit. And, I came down, I had no money, just in a really dire situation and kind of off the grid, just getting paid under the table. Not a real mature financial situation, but with a bunch of kids. So again, you see, I'm running up against this contradiction so much. I had to change it, and that's my rental. And so I plugged in, and Michael was there to support me, and there was a lot of people in the community that supported me, even though I didn't have the resources right away. I was encouraged to be resourceful, and honestly, that process of having to be resourceful is the skill set that I had to develop to actually become a real estate investor. So my journey of becoming started the first time I saw the workshop, and I made the commitment that I'm gonna commit to this path. And it was a doozy. I had to, basically the way I did it was I had to have a bunch of uncomfortable conversations and start to raise money, and with limited knowledge. But coming around the community, I was starting to pick up on the lingo and understand a little bit of the concept of what I'm supposed to be doing, and just enough to where I was able to raise some capital and get into the program. And then that same skill set, I was able to go and build a team and more networking of people that are involved in the education, and that out of that came partners. So I was able to raise capital to start a rental business. So we have a rental business. I have a rental business with a partner now. I built my credit up. So I have a bunch of personal credit lines of credit, and we've been building business credit. I'm like building business credit in 2 different companies. It's crazy. I remember I was spending all my money as I made it. Well, I've read this book that I would never have known about unless I would have came to, unless coming to this community called The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's like a concept of paying yourself first. And I already knew about a strategy to bank on yourself, where you create this life insurance policy tied into a trust, and you're able to save money in that as a savings vehicle and borrow from yourself. And so I knew about that. But when I was 17, I had cancer. And so when I went to do this 5 years ago and set up this part of my structure of my financial legacy, I got denied that. And I didn't have the community or the support or the reinforcement of a positive attitude and attitude of gratitude, and that definite chief aim, just definite purpose and obsession, almost just fixed on your goals and making it happen. I really didn't have that push at that time. So, I gave up on trying to get the life insurance policy, even, because I got denied. I could have pivoted and had one of my kids get it, but again, I wasn't in the right mindset yet. So fast forward, and now that's another component that I have. A part of my financial situation is, my own family banking system, and I'm saving now. I'm like putting away money every month to use for larger investments or to use for my kids' college, whatever we want to do, So we have our banking system together. It's endless, all the benefits that have happened since I've got involved. And mind you, it's not been an easy path at all. I've been scratching and crawling my whole way into this, but the skill set and the knowledge that I'm getting, no one can take away from me. you got to hit me upside the head and I get amnesia. And that's about the only way that you're going to be able to take away this new empowerment that I have. And it's powerful. So in the last 16 months, I've made over, 100,000. When I first came to the community, I first saw this opportunity, I had made $14,000 that year. And so, yeah, you can see
Wow.
a lot has changed. A lot has changed. And, now with that, having all those eco ideas and, being an eco design teacher, that kind of rubbed off with my friends in the community. So, me and Michael, we've been hanging out, and his money mind's been rubbing off on me, and my eco mind rubbed off on him. And, that law of averages and just association being, you are the average of the 5 people around the most. And we spent a lot of time together in the last 4 years. And I feel like my mind is just, when it comes to finances, it's so sophisticated now, even just hanging out with Michael, let alone all the education we have that we all plug into, and just hanging out with all the other people in the community. So, from that, me rubbing off on Michael too, he's in Tennessee. We have all these plans, and we're working on ideas of mine that used to just be in my head, and I had no real plan or way to execute and make this stuff happen. And now we're making it happen. We're working all the time towards this. Just the other day, we're on the phone at night looking at some properties to continue to expand this eco development type of concept that we're coming up with now, which, this is not happening. None of this stuff's happening unless I came here and found this education and this community and all these awesome people. And see my son right here, he's learning this stuff too.
Speaking of your son, I have a question. You mentioned you've got 4 kids. So
yeah.
What does this mean for the future of your children?
Oh, my son is crazy. He can hop on here right now, and he probably knows, like when he was going to school, the COVID stuff they're not in right now, but in this break. But when he was in school, the last 2 years he's been in school, he noticed how none of his teachers even really understand finances like he does. And he is like, he's 11 years old, and he understands finances on a higher level than his teachers, and all these adults around him. And he notices it, and he's like, "Damn, this is weird, Dad. Nobody knows this stuff." What? It's like regular for him, but yeah, I'm like, "Yep, you're getting Jedi training, bro." So that's basically what this is. We're like financial Jedis, and it's real.
Yeah, changing the game, changing the whole landscape, not
Period.
just you. So I remember when we first met, and you came down to our office, and you were like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "Dude, it's real estate investing." And you're like, "I don't know, man. I just want some land so I can make a little project." And I'm like, "What kind of projects are you talking about?" And then when I learned that side of things, now we're sitting on land, right? So tell us. Thank you, by the way, for continuing. Because when I first heard this stuff, I was like, I don't want to hear it. I just want to make money. And you're like, "No, this is the real money. We gotta combine a way with the money and the land and make it work."
Right.
So tell us about your first real estate investment, and do you still own it?
Yeah, so my first investment was actually in our house that we're in. And yeah, we own this, and it was a creative acquisition. We had a creative deal, and after 7 years in this contract, we were able to acquire the deed to this house. So that was one of the first things that I did in investing. And we rent out. We have a couple spaces in the house that we rent out, and it covers the taxes and the insurance for the year. So it actually is not draining us. Usually when we have it rent out. Right now, there's no one in them, but usually we have them rented out. And then my second deal was just getting into these rentals, and we got we're doing rental arbitrage. So it's a strategy where you don't have to purchase the property, you control it. So it's like Henry Ford. I think Henry Ford says that. I don't want to own anything. I want to control everything. And so it's just using that concept, and we're controlling assets. And yeah, I still got those. We're looking to get more of those.
Okay, way cool. So when you were, I remember too that you said you made $14,000 the first year you came here, and you were running on fumes, literally, like your gas light was on the car, but
Right.
then energetically you were also running on fumes, right?
Yep.
How long was your commute back and forth to the jobs?
That commute was, you know, I live in Boulder and my work was in Denver, and it's about a 45-minute just drive just into the city, and then, you know, give or take another 10, 15 minutes to get to my destinations. And then I was having to do that all day, working in several different schools, because I wasn't just a regular teacher. I'm an artist, and I had this contract with a nonprofit, and it was cool. You know, we had these contracts with the schools through the nonprofit where the kids were getting credits for my class, but I didn't have a teacher certificate. So I'm jumping from school to school every day, working at about 3 or 4 different high schools. And yeah, so my commute was 2.5 hours just from home to the city and around town.
Man.
Yeah, it was
So you were spending like 15 to sometimes 20 hours a week just in the car.
just in the car. Yep.
Just to go to earn money.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, I had this education the last couple of years of it, and I was at least had a university on wheels in the car last year or two. But geez,
Yeah.
yes, that gave me a little more steam, you know.
Yeah. So now you said you're building your personal credit and your business credit. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so well, when I first started, like I said, I had no credit because I dropped out of college because when I went to college, my mom filled out something wrong on the FAFSA forms, the financial aid forms, and you know I grew up in a single family home with my mom. And when I went to school, like the 2 weeks before school started, they told her that she filled something wrong out on the forms, and so I had to get a loan, and that gave me like a bad taste in my mouth, you know, sour taste in my mouth about the financial world in general. So then when I went there and got the loan, it just turned me off from even going to class, honestly. And so I just kind of got out as soon as I could. But I'd already racked up some debt from the loan that got, when I signed my taxes the first time, they took that, you know, they garnished my taxes from, you know, I had a bunch of kids, so I got a tax return when that first time I signed. But yeah, I had no credit, you know, I was staying away from it. And when I met you, and you were like one of the first people that, you know, you weren't giving me any advice, but you're like, there's things, you know, talking about ideas other people have done. And I think you maybe had done the same thing. You had no credit at first. And you're like, well, what I did was you told me what you did, and you got a secured line. And, you know, this is before I even got a hold of the classes. So I was already getting support before I even purchased anything, you know. And then I got the credit nerds, you know, you referred me to the credit nerds and Get Funded Online, and I talked to them, and it was ridiculous. I applied for the credit assessment, and they returned my credit assessment, and there's like, we can't do anything for you, bro. You have no profile. There's nothing on your record, you know. So and I learned that having no credit is basically just as bad as having bad credit. But it was, you know, it was just that's what I say, that scratching and crawling into this. I just had to go to my credit union and get a secured line, and, you know, off what I heard you did, and then off of what credit nerds, you know, they mentioned some things. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't necessarily advice, but it was just mentioning things that I could consider. And so I went and I got a secured line, and in 6 months I just got $250 secured line, and got groceries every month and paid it off before this bill was cycling around. And I had to, you know, leave a little bit on there. And after 6 months, I started getting credit card offers, and I got excited. I got a credit card offer, and it was 0% in the mail. And I called up the credit nerds. You know, mind you, I haven't paid them any money or anything. They're just trying to help me get to the starting block. You know, I wasn't even ready. I wasn't even at the starting block yet. So they were helping me get there. And so yeah, I applied for that credit card, and I got $2,000 unsecured 0% interest line of credit. And then less than 6 months after that, I was able to apply for a credit assessment with the credit nerds, and they were able to find me about $10,000. And then one of my other cards, they got increased. So the cards got increased from 2 to 9, and then I got a $6,500 card. And then I learned some other tricks, and because I was 34 starting my credit, for creditors that looks crappy, you know, like, what happened to you in your late 20s? Did you bankruptcy or something? Why is there's this big gap before you started building your credit? And so a strategy that I was able to use was to be an authorized user on one of my mom's cards. My mom is the only person in my life that had any type of financial grounding, footing, you know? And so thankfully for her, at least, so I was able to leverage her credit history and made my credit profile look a little more normal for creditors. And yeah, and you know, now I got like $50-some thousand in personal credit that I'm gonna look to actually leverage that to get a HELOC on this house next, just leveraging, you know, my situation now to get a HELOC and then use that for some investing.
Okay. Wow. So started at 0, in case you guys didn't follow. Started at 0.
Right. It's all over the place.
Now he's at 50,000. And you got some business credit too?
Yeah, and the business credit, we have trade lines and we're close to being able to apply for actual.
You're building that up too.
Yeah, building that up too. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so and the reason why I ask that, folks, is because sometimes people are sitting here going, I don't know if I could do real estate. I got bad credit. And that's not what this is about. We're not talking about why you can't take control of your finances. Isn't that a reason to take control of your finances and get into real estate? So I asked them that to make sure that everyone's clear. Like, look, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters that you start, because no one out in the world is going to take care of you and your finances like you.
Like you will.
You. And this community is here to support people. Doesn't matter. I mean, when I came in, like you were mentioning, 0 in credit too. I didn't believe in it. I was scared of it. I didn't want to touch it. But now, you know, working through those systems, my wife and I now have over 200,000 in lines, and we're still growing it up too, man. You know, we're growing it while we're growing up.
Right. Exactly.
Financially immature, like you said.
Yeah, so immature financially before all this.
So,
and it's weird because a lot of people that make a lot of money are still financially immature.
Right. So with your investments now, how much cash flow are you bringing in?
I'm bringing in oh man. It's about 2,000 a month in my rentals. It's just 2 rentals. So, you know, because we're doing the special strategy with it. Normally a long-term rental, at least I would want to get 400 out of it, but these are short-term rentals, so we can get more out of them. So I'm getting 1,000 out of each pretty much.
So you're making more off your rentals now than you were making at your job when we first met.
Oh, so much more.
Wow.
Yeah, I made like $1,200 a month at my job.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how we did that. That was the good months. 1,200 were the good months at the job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gone are those days.
Very. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Well, cool. Keely, you got any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, so you've got 2 short-term rentals right now. What are you currently working on? Are you adding more short-term rentals to your portfolio, or what's
Definitely.
Right
Yep.
now?
So I had something came up and I have an interruption in my life for a month, but so I kind of redirected my focus for this month, but come January, I'll redirect my focus back to the short-term rentals, and because they're automated, you know, they're pretty much on the system. Like you heard, like I got an alert on my phone for someone at the door, but I have people that are handling most of the stuff, and then where there's not people, I have automation going for the most part. So yeah, we want to use. It's the concept is from the first short-term rental, the profits we make, we rolled it into the second one, and then from both of these, the profits we're making from this, we're rolling into the third. So because I made this deviation for a month, it's going to take probably another month or 2, February, March, for our all our seed money to be back in where it needs to be, so that we can roll into the 3rd and 4th unit, at least 3 and 4, not 5.
Cool.
So, yeah. Yep. And you know, we learn how to have the conversations. There's, you know, it's different conversations for different strategies, and you know, whatever the deal is that you're looking to make happen. And that's another cool thing is we learn how to. I'm not like looking for deals. I'm just looking for opportunities to create deals.
Right.
That's profound.
Yeah, that's totally different. I hear people all the time saying, I need to find a deal, find a deal, find a deal. And what I keep learning here is you don't find deals, you make deals.
Make them, yep.
Right? You make deals with your knowledge, your relationships, your creativity.
Yep.
So very, very inspiring story, man. The chat is lighting up. Awesome story. Love it. You're inspiring. Proud of you. Great stuff. You're on fire. So that's
thanks, everybody.
Man, way cool. And so we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for taking some time to share this story with us and some inspiration. And folks, if you're catching this recording, it's time to request the next video. The person who got you the link here knows exactly which videos to send you so that you can see what we're talking about. Right? These stories are to hopefully inspire you to stop making excuses and start living your dreams. It does take work, for sure. It takes work, but we're already working.
Serious.
Right? But we want to be working on something that's going to benefit us long term. So congrats again. And for those of you who are serious about this and you want to have a one-on-one strategy session, reach back out to us and get on the phone, get your questions answered, because there is a way for you to fit into this and really start to change your life. I came from a totally broke situation. I was eating one meal a day, working 70 hours a week, drowning in student loan debt to turn everything around. So if it happened for me, it happened for Mike, it can happen for Keely, it can happen for you too. So get the next link, check us out, keep plugging in, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, everyone.